After my younger sister made her debut, I expanded the family business empire using my resources. But she betrayed me, having me committed to a mental hospital. She clung to my new wealthy boyfriend and flaunted it in front of me. Thank you, sister, for gifting me assets worth hundreds of millions, she gloated. She even hinted to the male nurse assigned to me, doesn't my sister have a great figure? The abuse from that nurse eventually killed me. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the moment I risked my life to save the company's equipment during a snowstorm. This time, I chose to slack off, working from 9 to 5 on weekdays, and feigned ignorance whenever I was asked anything. Without my input, the company began to decline. My father ended up on the debtor blacklist, and my sister became the disgraced child of a bankrupt man. I severed ties with them, launched a new business, and made my way onto the rich list. We all have bright futures now, sister, I said. I had never understood why everyone favored her, but it no longer mattered because, in the end, I was the only one left. These were the last words Anna said to me. It was absurd. I had fought hard in the business world only to be betrayed by my own family. Each day in the mental hospital, I was tortured by the nurses, electrocuted, left incontinent, and tied to the bed helpless. Yet on TV, I could see my sister singing and dancing, celebrated as the little princess of the Ethan Group. The wealth I earned was used to support her, helping her rise to fame as a sought-after idol. And what about me? I was the one who drove the Ethan Group to become a billion-dollar enterprise, sacrificing my life for its success. In the end, though, I was locked away in a prison-like room, left to decay. Why? Just why? When I opened my eyes once more, I was standing outside a small hotel with my colleagues. It was pitch dark, and heavy snow fell relentlessly as a biting northern wind nearly knocked me down. Checking my phone, I saw it was my 20th birthday. Had I been reborn? Memories gradually returned. On this same day in my past life, I had braved a fierce snowstorm to save the company's critical shipment of equipment. The company had spent a fortune importing it, and this batch of equipment ultimately solidified its position in the industry. 10 years later, the Ethan Group had grown into a corporate giant, and this rescue was hailed by the media as the foundation of its technological success. But when I rushed home after that mission and told my father, Ethan, the news in person, he merely said, "Well done," before turning away to plan my sister's birthday party with my stepmother. I still remember my stepmother's scornful expression. None of them knew that the long exposure to freezing temperatures left me with aching knees every winter. The wind blew my engineer's hat away, and it tumbled into the distance. After answering a call, the team leader looked troubled. The taxi driver canceled. It's nearly 40 degrees C and the roads are deserted. We can't even book a ride online. This mirrored my past life. Back then, I carried a 20 Clowlers toolbox on my back, trudging several kilometers before a kind stranger offered me a ride. For what? Who was I working so hard for? If I could, I'd slap my former self. Olivia's eyes gleamed with anticipation. Alice is the youngest here. Young people should handle the tough jobs. Alice, why don't you check the warehouse? All eyes turned to me. I had skipped 2 grades in both junior high and high school. After graduating, I declined offers from prestigious firms and joined my father's company, concealing my identity and working from the bottom up, diligently following orders from older employees. Smiling brightly, I said, I can go, but someone should help me. How about you, Olivia? Everyone glanced at Olivia. Alice is dependable. Olivia, go with her. If no one helps, we'll all face the department head's anger. Me? Do you think I'm a fool? Olivia pulled her padded jacket tighter and glared at the colleague who spoke. The colleague snorted. Coward. Enough arguing, the team leader said. He told us to go inside the hotel while he donned 2 down jackets and tried hailing a taxi. After half an hour, no taxis stopped. The few that passed sped away. The team leader brushed off the snow, entered the hotel, and said, "The weather's too harsh. Let's wait." The snowstorm finally eased after 5 days. Sunlight pierced through the clouds, but offered no warmth. We took a car to the warehouse. After inspecting the equipment, the engineer sighed repeatedly. It's all ruined. I chuckled silently. Ruined? Let it be. I didn't care anyway. I had already memorized the technical details of that batch of machines. As I ate roasted sweet potatoes, I glanced at the equipment whenever I had a moment. Ethan had invested most of the company's funds in this. What was he going to do now? Really nice. What's really nice? Oh, I mean the sweet potatoes. When I got home that evening, Ethan was in his study. Through the door, I could hear him talking intermittently. Bank manager, could you extend the repayment deadline just a few more days? There's really no other way. The sound of things breaking followed as Ethan angrily threw items to the floor. My stepmother and Anna walked in, carrying bags of various sizes, and ran into me. Oh, when did Alice get back? So you ended up ruining the batch of equipment after all. My gaze landed on Anna. Her looks were average at best, but in my previous life, after multiple cosmetic surgeries, she transformed into a manufactured beauty. I wondered if, without my efforts this time, she could still be that little princess. Anna tossed her shopping bags aside and yelled, "Sister, you caused such a huge problem for the company, and you're still playing with your phone?" Hearing this, Ethan called me into the study. Alice Kane! Ignoring his summons, I walked straight up to Anna, swung my arm, and slapped her hard. Can you speak properly? Did I buy the equipment? It was your dear father who did that. So, by your logic, the company's downfall is because of him. How dare you hit me? Anna's eyes blazed with fury. It wasn't surprising. After all, I had tolerated her behavior since childhood. Over time, she assumed I was beneath her. I hit you? What of it? Do I need to schedule it? Anna, seething with anger, was ready to fight back, but my stepmother stopped her with a warning glance. Alice, get into the study. I'm not going. If you have something to say, come out here. I sat on the sofa, one leg crossed over the other. My stepmother quickly called out, Ethan, come and see what your dear daughter did to my precious Anna. Ethan stormed out of the study, slamming the door. Why did you hit your sister? I covered my ears and clicked my tongue. Ugh, you're so loud. Ethan looked me over and asked, what's wrong with you today? In the past, I did everything to gain his approval, playing the role of the perfect, obedient daughter. But now, things were different. What's wrong with you? I shot back. When the company's in trouble, you lash out at your family. Have you ever considered that your incompetence is to blame? Instead of yelling at me, maybe you should figure out how to save the company. Anna, still holding her cheek, added fuel to the fire. Sister sure has changed after one trip. My stepmother glared at me. Ethan, your daughter is so unruly. Who can control her? Auntie, no matter how rebellious I am, I'm nothing compared to you. The company can't even repay its debts, yet you and Anna went shopping. The items in those bags must be worth at least 100,000, right? My stepmother folded her arms and suddenly a cup of tea was splashed onto my face. You disrespectful girl! Water dripped from my hair down my cheeks. Though the tea wasn't scalding, the humiliation stung deeply. Wiping my face, I said, Ethan, to you, I'm just a dog who silently bears all the hardships. You're obedient punching bag, right? Who gave you the right to call me by my name? Where are your manners? My stepmother and Anna exchanged a glance, their victorious smiles clear. Taking a deep breath, I grabbed my still-packed suitcase, rushed out the door, and pulled out a megaphone I had prepared earlier. Dear neighbors, Ethan from the 16th floor of Building 2 is beating his daughter. Come out and take a look. My announcement shattered the peace of the 8 p.m. evening. Doors in the hallway began to open one by one. I'm the daughter of Ethan's first wife. After my mother died, Ethan, a man who married up, claimed her inheritance and remarried. Now, the three of them force me to work like a slave, abuse me, pour hot water on me, and send me into dangerous snowstorms. Is there no justice left? I recorded the message and set it to play on repeat. Then, I placed megaphones everywhere. One in the corridor, one in the elevator, another at the community gate, one in the parking lot, and even one at the small square where the elderly danced. I glued the switches so they couldn't be turned off. As I left the community, my phone kept ringing. I declined every call. The callers cycled from Ethan to my stepmother to Anna. What nonsense are you saying? Turn off the megaphones and come back. Stop embarrassing yourself. Why won't the megaphones turn off? It was hilarious. I blocked them all, grabbed my suitcase, and headed to my grandparents' house. My mother, the daughter of a former provincial governor, had been blinded by love when she fell for Ethan during her college years. She passed away from a heart condition when I was just a year old. Ethan married his secretary, now my stepmother, almost immediately. And within a few months, she was expecting Anna. To be honest, I was never very close to my grandparents. As I grew older, my studies and career consumed my time, and I only reached out during holidays. I remembered that 6 years later, my grandmother succumbed to lung cancer. Standing in front of my grandfather's door, I hesitated, feeling unsure. Just as I debated whether to knock, the door swung open. "Oh, Alice, you're here. Why are you standing outside? Come in quickly. Your hair is wet." Grandma handed me a towel. At the dinner table, there was another middle-aged man seated. For some reason, he looked vaguely familiar. The two elders didn't shy away from talking in front of me, and I soon learned that the man's factory was struggling with cash flow issues, and he was asking my grandfather if he knew any potential investors. As I dried my hair, a thought struck me. I smacked my forehead and asked, "Uncle, are you Lucas?" "Yes, I am." Sure enough, the man before me was Lucas, the Ethan Group's biggest competitor. He had keen business insight and often shared the same ideas as I did. In my past life, the Ethan Group advanced by developing new machines, and Lucas's machinery factory nearly collapsed. However, he restructured his business and eventually revived it. Smiling, I said, "Uncle Lucas, I have some details about foreign machinery that might interest you." Lucas hesitated, but after seeing my grandfather's approving nod, he made up his mind. "This information is crucial to me, Miss Alice. Name your price, and I'll find the funds immediately." "You don't need to pay me. I want a stake in your technology." The machines Ethan spent money on were now buried in snow, but I had just handed the technical knowledge to his competitor. Good luck, Ethan. The next day was Saturday. Memories of Grandma's cancer plagued me, so early in the morning I took my grandparents to a large hospital for a checkup, including lung scans. As expected, a nodule was found in Grandma's lung. A biopsy or surgery might be necessary. Grandma resisted the idea of hospitalization, saying regular checkups would be enough. But Grandpa and I convinced her. "Grandma, let's listen to the doctor. You should be hospitalized." "Yes, if it turns into cancer, it'll be serious." Reluctantly, she agreed to stay for treatment. This time, Grandma would stay healthy. That night, I kept Grandma company in the hospital, reminiscing about childhood memories. My phone kept buzzing with notifications. Checking it, I saw a message in the department group chat. "Everyone, gather in the meeting room at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Please confirm receipt." Received? Received. Tomorrow was Sunday. I asked in the group, "Why are we working on the weekend? Can't this wait until Monday?" 5 minutes passed in silence. Another 5 minutes later, the department head kicked me out of the chat. "Oh, so that's how it is. You'll be begging me to add me back on Monday." The next morning, I walked into the office. "Good morning," I greeted. No one responded. My colleagues sat quietly, stealing glances at me. The department head approached my desk, his face dark. "Alice, come to my office." I followed him, hearing whispers behind me. Since the machines were ruined, the department head has been furious, and Alice made things worse by talking back in the group chat. Yeah, he promised the boss he'd treat those machines like his own life. Now they're destroyed. Of course he's angry. The boss said whoever fixes the machines gets a 5,000 yen bonus. In my past life, no one gave me a bonus. Had someone withheld it? I sneered to myself. In the department head's office, my father Ethan was seated, and Olivia stood beside him, smirking. At work, Ethan and I always acted like strangers. When he saw me, his forehead throbbed with anger. I wondered how he dealt with those megaphones blaring in the community. "Alice, Olivia said you could have fixed the machines, but you caused a delay. Is that true?" "How can you say that?" I replied. "I agreed to go, but I couldn't carry the machines alone. I asked Olivia to help, but she refused." "Young people should be able to handle some hardship," Olivia said, dodging the issue and pretending to look upset. We senior colleagues have helped you a lot, yet you always avoid responsibility. It wasn't just me and Olivia who were there that day. I opened the meeting room door, but the team leader was absent. The colleagues who had accompanied me that day dropped their heads, avoiding eye contact as I stepped out. I understood they were ready to shift the blame for the damaged equipment onto me since I had embarrassed the department head in the group chat the previous day. Ethan finally broke the silence with his first words. So what if there's a snowstorm? Can't we still go out? I let out a soft laugh. The weather forecast advises people to stay indoors during storms, but you don't listen, do you, dear father? Olivia, the team leader and the department head, stared at me in shock. Why are you all looking so surprised? Don't recognize me? I continued. Don't spout nonsense in the office, my father scolded. Oh, so my father is a fool. Why are you so mad then? I pulled out one of the two office chairs and plopped down. Olivia and the department head exchanged uneasy glances, their faces paling. Casually, I kicked the office door open with my foot. Father, I shouted, I know you've always favored Aunt Grace's children, but you've gone too far with me. You asked me, a regular employee, to spy on my colleagues, making me feel guilty every time I face them. Now, you sent me on a business trip to the freezing Northeast, where it's minus 40 degrees Celsius, and you blame me for not going out in a snowstorm. Even a tiger doesn't eat its cubs. What did I do to deserve this? Colleagues began peeking in through the doorway. I know the company is in trouble. Will we even get paid next month? It's fine. Take my 3,000 yen salary. Don't worry about me. For 10 years, I'd earned the same low salary. Even now, after my rebirth, I was still the lowest paid employee. Ethan's few remaining hairs trembled with his rage. His hand shook as he pointed at me. Stop talking nonsense. I'm not lying. Every word is the truth. If you think I'm making it up, call the police and have me arrested. I won't complain. Get out, he shouted. I left the office, slamming the door behind me. Embarrassed, Ethan left the company soon after, his face dark as he drove away. Once he was gone, Olivia and the department head approached me, smiling obsequiously. Miss Alice, I didn't realize your importance, Olivia said. Oh, please, I replied. I'm just a junior employee who should endure hardships. I don't deserve such kindness. The department head looked pained. Please don't say that. It was my fault. I held up my phone. You removed me from the group chat yesterday, didn't you? I've added you back. We'll buy you coffee every day, he promised. I scoffed. Get lost. If it weren't for my upcoming plan, I wouldn't stay here a second longer. I turned on my computer and checked my stocks. The ones I had bought a few days ago had risen. The trends mirrored those of my previous life, so I invested all my remaining savings. A colleague next to me leaned over and whispered, Is it true the company can't pay salaries next month? Use your brain, I replied. He smiled awkwardly. At 5 p.m., I grabbed my bag and left, feeling the admiring stares of my colleagues. Annoying Ethan had put me in a great mood. However, when I got to Grandpa's house, Ethan's face greeted me. Grandpa was on the sofa while Ethan hovered beside him, trying to look humble. Dad, look at what Alice has turned into. She doesn't act like a proper girl, Ethan complained. I cleared my throat, dropped the snacks I bought onto the sideboard, and stared at him. Ethan fell silent and glanced at me. I sneered. Don't just talk about me. Let's talk about you. Almost 50 years old, having an affair, and letting your mistress and her daughter gang up on your ex-wife's kid. Impressive. Grandpa snorted loudly. Ethan insisted, whenever your stepmother buys something, she gets you something too. Why do you always twist things to sound so bad? Really? Spending hundreds of thousands on her daughter and giving me things worth a few yuan? That's what you call sharing? Ethan fell silent. I was wrong, Dad. I'll pay more attention. I wondered if he had lost his mind. Then Ethan turned to Grandpa. Dad, let Alice come home with me. You shouldn't have to take care of her. Oh, I see. He just wanted to restore his reputation by taking me back. Grandpa looked at me for my decision. I nodded. I still needed to settle things with Anna. Seeing this, Grandpa warned, Ethan, remember that Alice is your daughter. Don't favor Grace and her daughter too much. I may be retired, but I still have connections. If they bully Alice again, you'll regret it. Of course, of course. I picked up my suitcase and returned to Ethan's house once more. I greeted everyone I met. Hello, Auntie. Hello, Uncle. About the incident the other day, it was just a joke. Sorry for giving you a laugh. After greeting them, I whispered to Ethan, I'll cooperate with you. I hope you'll do the same. Ethan gave a forced chuckle. When we got home, my stepmother and Anna were sitting on the couch. The moment they saw me, they couldn't help but throw snide remarks. Oh, Alice still remembers how to come home. Those megaphones really made things hard for your dad. Everyone's been talking about us. I paused just inside the doorway. Then, should I leave? Ethan quickly cut in. Stop talking like that in front of her. My stepmother's eyes widened in disbelief. You're actually scolding me? If you had controlled things better at home, would Alice have run away? Take care of your daughter and stop picking fights with Alice, Ethan warned. I patted his arm. Nice job. Carrying my suitcase, I headed straight for my room. As I walked past my stepmother, I pinched my nose. What's that awful smell? Didn't Auntie brush her teeth? Anna couldn't hold back and lunged at me, pushing hard. What nonsense are you spouting? Before I could respond, Ethan slapped her across the face. Anna looked up, stunned. Dad? The father she knew had changed. Ethan glared at her. I told you, but you didn't listen. Crying, Anna ran to her room. The next morning at breakfast, Anna's eyes were swollen from crying. She handed Ethan her report card, which hadn't been signed yet. Dad, please sign this. Ethan, who always took school seriously, picked up the card and frowned. Her scores were all in the 60s. What happened with your exams? I glanced at her test papers as Ethan signed them. Your grades are far behind your sister's. Comparisons were inevitable. I had skipped grades and still got into a top university. In my previous life, Anna had only made it into a third-rate college. Must be Mom's genes, I remarked. My mom earned a doctorate. Auntie, I looked at my stepmother and continued, was just a secretary with a high school diploma. My stepmother's hand clenched her chopsticks, her eyebrows twitching with anger. I added, maybe Anna should quit studying and try for an art school instead. Ethan seemed to seriously consider this. After that, I kept working as usual, but stuck to a strict 9-to-5 schedule, 5 days a week. Whenever someone asked me to do something, I played dumb. Alice, write this report. Sorry, I haven't finished my own. Alice, collect and analyze this data. I can't. I'm meeting clients. My colleagues noticed I wasn't the diligent, obedient worker I used to be, and since they knew I was the boss's daughter, they stopped bossing me around, giving me a more relaxed time. I wasn't just slacking off, though. I was investing in stocks. Using my knowledge from my previous life, I earned a fortune. I put part of the money into Bitcoin and real estate. The rest, I used to approach Isabel, who founded the most successful talent show company in my past life. At this time, she was selling her house and car to support a few girl groups under her management. I proposed a partnership and asked her to assist with my future plans. Isabel agreed readily. I also advised her to recruit more trainees because the era of national talent shows was approaching. One of Isabel's girl groups still had some fame. I took a picture with them and posted it on my WeChat moments, making it visible only to Anna. It's great to be an idol. You get fame and money, I wrote. I knew she had always dreamed of joining a girl group. This time, I would speed up her path into the entertainment world. Let's see how far she could go without me. That evening, I left 2 boy band concert tickets on the coffee table. Does your daughter like concerts? I asked the family's cook. A friend gave me these tickets. When I got up to drink water in the middle of the night, the tickets were gone. From her so-called friends, I learned Anna had attended the concert. Afterward, she seemed different, buying a lot of makeup and focusing on her appearance. She even started skipping meals, saying she wanted to lose weight. My stepmother slammed her chopsticks down in frustration. Why are you wearing makeup at your age? Anna snapped back. I want to. Don't interfere. Sister looks pretty with makeup, I said, raising an eyebrow. Am I causing trouble again? Ethan's gaze flicked to me and my stepmother fell silent. Instead, she turned her anger on Anna. Your grades have dropped again. Are you just thinking about useless things? She stormed into Anna's room, dumped her makeup into garbage bags, and shouted, I'm throwing this junk out. Mom, don't, Anna pleaded, but her resistance was pointless. She glared at my stepmother with resentment. I'm doing this for your own good, my stepmother insisted. Later that night, I knocked on Anna's door, holding several sets of brand new cosmetics. She eyed me warily. What do you want? These are for you, I said. I spoke calmly while Anna's eyes scrutinized me. They're brand new and sealed. You can check them yourself. Why are you being so nice? She asked suspiciously. I think your mom is too harsh. It's normal for girls to wear makeup. Anna slammed her door shut. That night, her room light stayed on until morning. A month later, Anna's grades in the monthly exam dropped again. My stepmother held the report card, fuming. Why did I end up with such a useless daughter? You're nowhere near as smart as Alice. How can you be so dumb? Who says only grades matter? Anna retorted, holding up a crumpled flyer. I'm signing up for a talent show. I want to be an idol. I'm done with school. People who pursue entertainment careers have been training in singing and dancing since childhood. What have you learned? My stepmother challenged. I did ballet as a kid, Anna replied. But you quit after 3 years because you thought it was too exhausting. My stepmother reminded her. Just let me try, Anna pleaded, realizing she couldn't change her mind. If I fail, I'll take the art exam. The academic requirements are lower for that. My stepmother looked over at Ethan, hesitant. He frowned. Let her do it. She won't get picked anyway. With that, Anna finally got her wish and registered for the talent show. The show aimed to select 9 girls from a pool of 100 contestants to form a group. It was China's first talent show of its kind, sparking a nationwide craze. However, due to her lack of training and average looks, Anna was eliminated in the very first episode. That's when my plan kicked off. I arranged for someone to contact Anna and sign her with Isabel's company. When she returned home, she was brimming with excitement. Even though I got cut in the first round, a company still signed me. Is the company reliable? Ethan asked. Of course. They're the ones who organized the talent show. They've made tons of money. That was true. My own earnings were skyrocketing by the day. Mom, Dad, after the art exam, I'm not going to university. I'm going straight into showbiz. No way, my stepmother snapped. You still need to get a degree. The entertainment industry is short-lived. How long can you even last there? But I have some fame now from the show. If I wait until after college, who knows what will happen, Anna argued. Ethan decided, let's think it over after you take the art exam. That night, as I passed Ethan's room, I overheard him talking to my stepmother. It's good Anna has her own ambitions. I'll work a few more years and save up to help her succeed. You're so thoughtful, Ethan, she said warmly. Hearing that, I recalled my days and nights trapped in the mental hospital. It amazed me how biased people's hearts could be. On the day Anna's art exam results came out, Lucas launched the new communication equipment using the information I had provided. The product shook the entire industry, with companies eager to collaborate with him. But following my instructions, Lucas turned down Ethan. Ethan stormed around the house furious. Lucas used to compete with me for clients. His eyes landed on me. If you hadn't failed to save that equipment, we'd be the ones with the new technology. I scoffed, mimicking his actions and hurling a vase at him, cornering him. All you do is dwell on past failures. If that equipment was so crucial, why didn't you go to the Northeast yourself? Ethan's breath quickened. How did I end up with a daughter like you? Just then, my stepmother burst in. Anna's gone. She said she was afraid we'd force her into college, so she left with the company. Ethan was so enraged he nearly fell over. That rebellious child! I returned to my room and called Anna's agent. Is everything going as planned? Yep, the agent confirmed. We told her the company would promote her if she got plastic surgery. We're already in South Korea, and the doctor's been arranged. The surgery is bound to fail. In the following days, Anna didn't contact her family. My stepmother grew anxious. The company's outdated equipment wasn't selling. Bankruptcy loomed, and employees were quitting. Ethan's frustration mounted, leading to constant arguments between him and my stepmother. I just watched it all unfold, eating melon seeds. A month later, Anna finally answered a video call. Wearing sunglasses, she said, "Mom." My stepmother cried out, "Anna, where are you?" The company made me get plastic surgery, but it went wrong. She pointed at her nose, showing her mismatched nostrils. They won't cover the cost to fix it. I need 100,000 won. Plastic surgery? Who told you to do that? Ethan roared. What were you thinking? You don't get it. Every idol has plastic surgery. Failures happen all the time. Just give me the money, and I'll pay you back double once I debut. You've got big dreams, Ethan muttered bitterly. Anna ended the call, and my stepmother turned to Ethan. How's the company doing? Ethan took a drag on his cigarette. Still in debt. What if we mortgage the house? Hey, I quickly cut in. This house belongs to me. My mother left it to me. What right do you have to sell it? The family is falling apart, and you don't seem to care, Ethan criticized. My stepmother tugged on his sleeve, and they exchanged hushed words. The next day, Ethan told me he wanted me to attend a banquet with him. I'm not going, I replied bluntly. It's a business event. It'll be good for you. Are you really that considerate? I doubt it. Seeing Ethan's anger rising, I covered my ears. All you do is yell. Have some tea to calm down. I'm leaving if that's all. Wait, Ethan said. Come with me, and I'll give you 50,000 won. I laughed out loud. Just 50,000? Do you even know how many zeros are in my bank account? Still, his persistence piqued my interest. General Manager Lee, this is my daughter. Ethan introduced me to an entertainment company's general manager. Coincidentally, I had just seen him with Isabel at an event the day before. I gave him a subtle signal, and General Manager Lee pretended not to know me. I've heard your second son is talented and handsome, Ethan said. What do you think of my daughter? My expression darkened, and so did General Manager Lee's. His second son suffered from supermale syndrome, and despite their efforts to raise him well, there were persistent rumors of his violent tendencies, which caused his father no end of trouble. Was Ethan trying to sell me off as his daughter-in-law? I sneered, yanked my hand away from Ethan's grasp, and left. When we got home, my stepmother started lecturing me. You're old enough now. The family's in debt, and you're not helping. If you marry into General Manager Lee's family, remember to promote your sister. They weren't even trying to hide their greed. The debt is your problem, not mine. If the Lee family is so great, why don't you marry into it yourself? Ethan jabbed his finger at me. Ungrateful brat. I've fed and clothed you for years, and this is how you repay me? You still live in your mother's house rent-free. Then pay me rent. This is my house, I shot back. It's decided. You'll marry the second young Master Lee, or I'll disown you. I smirked. What a generous offer. Ethan clutched his chest. Oh, Ethan, don't fake it, I said, watching him collapse to the floor. I dialed 120 for an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor said he was just overstressed. Oh, I thought he was dying, I said, unimpressed. Ethan, fuming, immediately drafted a letter to cut ties with me. Sign it, I said. It's what I want. I called a real estate agent and sold the house for 100,000 won below market value. By the time Ethan was discharged, the new owner had already changed the locks. Ethan called me, furious. Did you sell the house? It's my property. None of your business. The company's in trouble, he shouted. Try getting a nude loan, I suggested, then hung up. My colleagues told me later that Ethan slept in the office that night. I packed my suitcase and returned to my grandparents' house. Grandma's surgery had gone well. She just had to avoid spicy food. We laughed and talked during dinner, and for the first time in ages, I felt at home. The following day, I met with Isabel and asked her to give me a producer role. I planned to select talented girls to form a new group and organize next year's talent show. During auditions, I ran into Anna in the bathroom. Her nose had been fixed, but her botched eyelids made her resemble a sad frog. She sneered. How did you get in here? I'm working as a cleaner since the family company's in trouble, I lied. Anna looked me up and down with disdain. What's the use of being smart if you're stuck doing disgusting jobs? She rolled her eyes and walked off. I followed her to the audition room. Why are you following me? She snapped. I smiled and opened the audition office door. My assistant soon announced, the producer is here. Those with their numbers called, "Please come in." When it was Anna's turn, her profile noted that her family owned a communication company and that her persona was a wealthy princess. Princess? The family business was on the brink of collapse. During her performance, she sang solo, her voice resembling a quacking duck. The other judges gently encouraged her to keep practicing. I bluntly said, "With your skills, you belong in a kindergarten recital." Someone chuckled. Next, afterward, Anna waited for me outside. "You're the producer?" she asked. "Then put me in your new girl group." I was both amused and annoyed. "Who do you think you are? Now that the company's in trouble, you expect me to pay off your debts?" "I'll say it again," I told her firmly. "Your debts are your problem, not mine. If you're so determined to debut, why not improve your skills?" I said, my tone calm. I wasn't sure if my words spurred Anna on, but she somehow found an agent in the company and joined a girl group preparing to debut. After she debuted, she managed to attract a small group of fans. One day while I was walking through the company, she stopped me. "See, I can debut even without you." "Sure, you're incredible," I replied, sipping my coffee. I turned to my assistant and asked them to investigate Anna's agent. When I returned to my office, I saw a familiar face, David. He had been my boyfriend and an up-and-coming figure in the business world in my previous life. After Anna took him away, he even visited me in the mental hospital with her on his arm. I couldn't forget that humiliation. The moment David saw me, he approached and introduced himself politely. "Hello, I'm David. You must be the renowned investor, Alice. I have a project to discuss." "I don't have time," I said coldly, closing the office door in his face. By the time I finished my work, it was 10 p.m., and my assistant had already left. Rubbing my aching shoulders, I noticed David sitting on the sofa. He walked over as soon as he saw me. "It'll only take a few minutes," he insisted. In my past life, his persistence had moved me, and I invested a huge amount in his project. The result? Betrayal. I rejected him again and headed to the parking lot. My car's tires were mysteriously damaged. David followed me and offered, "Alice, want a ride?" I declined and tried calling a taxi, but it was pouring rain, and there were over 300 people ahead of me in the queue. "Take my car. I won't mention the project, I promise," David said, his expression earnest. After a pause, I finally agreed. Thunder roared outside, but the music played softly inside the car. True to his word, David stayed silent and dropped me off at my building. "Thank you," I said. "You're welcome, Alice. I'll see you tomorrow," he replied. David showed up like this every day for 2 weeks. Tired of his persistence, I eventually agreed to have dinner with him. "You look beautiful in the candlelight," David said, his eyes shining. "Are we here to talk business or to date?" I asked. "Don't rush, we'll talk after dinner," he smiled. Midway through the meal, Anna burst into the private room. "You're still not cautious enough," she sneered, shaking a wine bottle on my table. "Why are you always so perfect, sister? Why does everyone love you?" I put down my fork, took a sip of wine, and replied indifferently, "Is that so?" I was tired of hearing this. Anna stared at me and smirked. "You don't know there's something in this wine, do you? When you wake up, guess where you'll be? The mental hospital." I answered calmly, "Thanks for the warning." Anna's face changed. She turned to see David already unconscious. "What about you?" I said as my bodyguards entered the room. One of them struck the back of her neck, and she collapsed. Did she really think I'd fall for her tricks again? I wiped my hands with a handkerchief. "Take them to the mental health center I arranged, and make sure Max is their caretaker." I had promised to repay the suffering I endured in my previous life. Ethan's company eventually went bankrupt. The last time he saw me was outside my grandpa's house. Grabbing my sleeve, he pleaded, "Alice, only you can help me now. Lend me 10 million yuan to save the company. I'll leave it to you in the future." I pulled away. "Do you think I still trust you? I'm your father. I wouldn't lie to you. My mother thought you wouldn't cheat on her either, but look how that turned out." "It was a waste raising you," he shouted. "When did you ever raise me? You raised Anna, not me." Neither Grandpa nor I helped him. In the end, Ethan used his remaining savings to flee abroad, abandoning his family and debts. I bought his bad debt from the bank at a low price and handed his details to a ruthless debt collection agency. I didn't care if he lived or died. After Ethan's escape, comments started appearing under Anna's Weibo posts. Boycott Anna. Her father owes our company millions and fled abroad. She's the daughter of a debtor. How is she still in the entertainment industry? Anna should quit and repay the debt. I announced her withdrawal from the girl group, citing the public boycott. My assistant's investigation revealed her agent had been abusing his power for personal gain, so the company fired him. Someone else was assigned to handle the tasks at the district mental health center that he used to manage. Anna was writhing in agony, while the doctor beside her instructed, "Increase the current." The sharp pain caused her to lose control of her bladder. After briefly passing out, she was strapped down by her wrists and ankles and wheeled back to her room by the nurses. When she opened her eyes and saw me, she stared in confusion. "Alice, is that you?" "Yes, it's me," I replied, covering my nose. "You reek." "Where is this? Let me out." "Doesn't it seem familiar?" "This is the place you tried to send me to." I leaned in close to her ear. "You really are foolish. Every move you made was under my control." "What?" she muttered, fear creeping into her voice. "I brushed her delicate nose bridge with my fingertips. The surgeon who botched your plastic surgery? I paid him off." Anna's body started trembling, and she convulsed violently as if having a seizure. I frowned and stepped back. When she reopened her eyes, her demeanor changed entirely. "Where am I?" "No, I was the one who sent you to the mental hospital. How did it end up being me, my head? It hurts. What's happening?" Silently, I flicked on the electric current switch. A surge of electricity flowed through the restraints, and Anna screamed before slipping back into unconsciousness. I put on my sunglasses and walked out. Not long after, Anna died, and her caretaker, Max, was imprisoned for patient abuse. The people I had planted inside made sure he received the same hospitality he once gave me. All the wrongs of the past were finally put to rest. I completed my remaining work, and by then my wealth was sufficient to place me on the rich list. On a bright, sunny day, I handed over my responsibilities to other agents and decided to retire. I bought a luxury cruise ship and set off to travel the world with 10 male models by my side,